Hola amigos, this is Level 12 and today we are doing kind of an introduction to fanfiction.net and also a slight introduction on not how to write fanfictions, but how to get your fanfictions noticed. Specifically on fanfiction.net, I have used Wattpad and Archive of Our Own. However, fanfiction.net has been around the longest and has been really reliable. Wattpad in the past few years have gone downhill, and I just haven't used Archive of Our Own slash AO3 that much, but if you want, I can make a video on one of those, but fanfiction.net is a site dedicated to fanfictions, and it's been around since 2007, I believe. And so, as you can see, the first thing that you see when you go to fanfiction.net are fanfictions and crossovers. Now, there's a difference, and you can have a fanfiction in the anime and manga section, books, cartoons, comics, games, miscellaneous, which I'm not entirely sure what that entails. I've never gone there. Movies, plays, and TV shows. So those are for fanfictions that are strictly just like if you went into anime and you wanted to read a Sailor Moon fanfiction, you would go there and it'd be nothing but straight Sailor Moon fanfictions. However, when you go to crossovers, maybe you want to read a Sailor Moon crossed with Pokemon, that's where you find it. But you wouldn't find the Sailor Moon cross Pokemon in the regular fanfictions. It would only appear in the crossovers. So if you're making a fanfiction and you want to do a crossover, please be mindful of that. So first thing about fanfiction.net is obviously you have to create an account. I'm not going to do that on screen. You can figure that out on your own. But this is going to be the panel you go to when you want to start publishing fanfictions. This is just the profile page, and you have to go to publish. Now, one would think you would go to manage stories or new story, but actually you must first go to the document manager, because fanfiction.net, unlike Archive of Our Own and Wattpad, you technically cannot write on the website. You can do this copy and paste thing where you can be like, hey, or hooray, hey, you can technically do that, but fanfiction.net would prefer if you did this. It would prefer if you submitted documents from your computer, and also documents submitted to fanfiction.net only last for 365 days, which is a year, and you may think that's a long time. However, if you're writing a fanfiction that's going to take a while, because some people write very long fanfictions that take over some time to write, it would be very much more helpful if you had the documents on your computer. So it uploads file size limit to 9 MB, which is a lot. And it supported files. The pound sign is Libre / OpenOffice, which is on older computers, older desktops. It's the free Microsoft Word program, and it's mostly supported for that. It's highly recommended. And then obviously you have Microsoft Office, Microsoft Works, WinWord, WordPad, WordPerfect, HTML. All of those files are supported. And then something called plain text. I think that's if you were to go the copy and paste route. And Notepad, which as far as I have been known, Notepad is like a website browser thing. I don't know, but these are the files that are supported, and you can submit them as a story, which can then later be published, or DocX, which can be shared between other users for editing, but you can't put them on your computer. So now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to write every individual chapter in a new Word document, and technically yes, you have to do that, but here is this is a lot on screen. Here is the file I use on my computer for when I write fanfiction. So, as you can see, I've labeled the folder stories, and I have my fanfiction in here. This document holds all the chapters. This is the big, mainframe, powerful document. There's over 140 pages in there, 32,000 words, I believe, of fanfiction. For Hogan's Heroes, and then all of these are the individual chapters, because we'll get into later why I have them like this, and specifically why it looks like this. And so every time I'm about to update a new chapter, I just go here and I go away, I highlight the section of chapter that I want, I copy it, and then I I would have a new Word document open, and I would paste the text in there and edit on there, and then save it as the chapter number, which I would later let that go away, label basically the same thing here. So that's the first step into writing a fanfiction on fanfiction.net. I know it's a lot, just bear with me. Though I will admit that's a kind of a downside of fanfiction.net. It's a lot of steps to get to the final process, but let me just tell you, it's really worth it in the end, because I love using fanfiction.net. It's real great. So once you have some documents, or even just the first chapter uploaded to fanfiction.net, you're going to want to go to New Story. However, every time you want to make a new story, even if you're currently making a story or currently updating a story, you have to visit the guidelines and you must agree to their rules. Their rules are very simple, and this will lead us into some other stuff. So fanfiction.net, community etiquette, it's all this jazz. Actions not allowed, multiple entries of the same material. There can only be one copy of any unique story on the entire site, no exceptions. Rewriting names of characters, you know, just the general thing. Here's the thing you need to be wary of, though. Oh, also this, these authors don't want fan works of their stuff, and that's 100% fine. Are the ratings. Fanfiction.net has its kind of own unique rating system, and we'll get into why. So fanfiction.net, oh Jesus, uses ratings from fictionratings.com, and it does not support MA, which is like super mature stuff. It's just down here for reference. So it goes from K, I don't know what the it goes from K to K plus to T to M. Those are the ratings allowed by fanfiction.net. And when you're ready, you can just say, yes, I have read the content guidelines, and you're good. And then you can go to New Story. So you have to select a category. It can be crossover, and it can be regular. So I'm just going to pick we're just going to go back to Hogan's Heroes. Saved. Yeah, we're just gonna do that, and click continue, and then this is where you do everything. So fanfiction.net, I don't really see the point of cover images for fanfiction.net, because I mostly read on my phone and you can't see the covers anyways, and even on the website the covers are kind of trash. So anyways, so you have to put a title, put a summary, and it's at max 384 characters. You have to put a language and a rating. Now, something about the ratings. Fanfiction.net, when you go to the stories, I'm just going to go to, let's just go to manga, let's go to Hetalia, and filters. So, I can't move that. So something you will notice is that fanfiction.net automatically does not have the M rating. It goes from K to T. That's the default rating. So when you want to make a story that is M, be cautious, because some people don't change the ratings on stories. Like, if I'm just looking for a story with a specific character, I don't really think to change the rating every time. Now, I try to, but I don't always. And some people don't change the ratings because either they don't want M, or they just kind of forget that M isn't included. So if you're making a story and you think it might be M rated, just be mindful that fanfiction.net by default only has it from K to T, and you have to go to rating all, and that's even above what the ratings are. So be very cautious, because as you can see, there's the amount of stories with K to T is 98,000, but when rating all, it's 119,000. So be very careful when you rate your stories M, because some people might not see it because they don't change the ratings or they don't care. But again, T and M, they're kind of similar, you know, just be real cautious with that. So back to this, let's just say it's T, and then you can pick genre. You have to pick one kind of genre, and we're just going to say angst and drama. So this is also where you will say if your story is complete or in progress, and then you have to pick through a character list of characters. Now you don't have to add characters, it's completely optional, but it just helps people figure out who's in your story, and so we're just gonna go with Newkirk and Carter. Oh, whoopsies, Carter, Olsen, who took his place. Now, something that's really annoying is that if you enter this code wrong, so we're just gonna go 000, publish new story, rip. English. Sorry for that abrupt interruption. So if you type in this code wrong, it deletes your characters. So be very careful when typing in this code, because every single time, for some reason, I type in the code wrong first and it deletes my characters, and then I have to go in and fix the story and all of that. But then, once you do that, your story shows up. So fanfiction.net does this thing where if you just go to the page, and again, if it's K through T, it lists the stories in order that they've updated. So think about that when you're writing your fanfiction. So when you upload your story, you will be able to, and yes, these are all fanfictions I've written, and we'll get into that. So this is my current one. So I updated my story today, and you get to go to the traffic graph, and now I update my story every Friday and Tuesday. I didn't do that this week because I wasn't at home Tuesday, but as you can see on the days, I updated it Friday, I have peak views, and then across the days it went down, and then on Monday, now because my schedule changed, my people who just regularly read my story, this is a little bit lower than it should be, but I updated it Monday. As you can see, peak view, it goes down, it goes down, it goes down, and then I updated today, 40 views. Now it did have 3 views at the start when I first updated, but I've gained 37 views or readers by updating my story. So that's something you should really think about if you want to gain traffic, because fanfiction.net really is like YouTube, and it really wants you to update your story regularly. So back to these managed stories. So as you can see, this story, it was last updated on the 16th of, what's the 5th month? April? January, February, March, April, May. The 16th of May in 2015, and it was also published the 16th of May in 2015. So something you should probably not do, which I did do, was upload your entire story in one day. You may think you may feel like it's going to be great, that it's going to be fun if you do that, but it's really better if you plan out your story and have an update schedule and update it once a week or twice a week, such as I do, because one, fanfiction.net will continuously, whenever you update, put your story at the top or in the first few pages of the search thing, because let's face it, no one's going to go back far enough to 2015 if they're just a casual reader of the fandom and just wants to find a new fanfiction. Obviously, if they put in the characters and completed it and all that jazz, they'll be able to find it as well, but it's more likely you will get new readers if you update every couple of days. And that's also why I write my things like this, why I put them in new documents like this, because again, I go to my main document, the master document, and I highlight the text, I copy it, and then I paste it in a new document, and I edit on there, I upload it to fanfiction.net, and then I update my story. And I highly recommend that if you want to gain a following and gain interest and get comments and stuff, because one of my favorite parts about fanfiction.net are like getting reviews and getting favorited and having my story in communities and having followers. Like, that's something I really enjoy. And I don't know about y'all, but you may enjoy it as well. Some other tips I have for just in general fanfiction.net, again, is be careful when you rate your story M. Also, make sure the characters you put as the characters that you tag are actually in your story, and they are important, because I've read some fanfictions where they just put in 4 characters to have 4 characters, when really it could have been 1 or 2. Also, another thing I highly recommend doing is, what is this? Okay, so this is my main document. As you can see, I have a lot written here. This is well more than 8 chapters. I highly recommend, before you start publishing on fanfiction.net, which is something I wish I had taken my own advice on, is you have about 5 chapters or a third of the story already written before you start editing or publishing on fanfiction.net, because I edit literally an hour before the update goes live. And that is so if you get stuck somewhere in the story, or it's a hard scene to write, like it's something you're not used to writing but it needs to happen, you have a cushion of chapters that are already set and ready to go. Like, I'm at a point in my story where the chapter is just kind of harder to write because it's something I'm not used to writing. It's super serious, and it's I may have put my characters in too much danger, let's be honest here. And having all those other chapters written gives you a cushion in case you need to take a day or two to just plan your story, because, you know, writing off the seat of your pants is fun and all, but there are some things that need to be planned. I highly recommend doing that. Unlike, it's deleted now, but I wrote a Hetalia fanfiction, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write the first 10 chapters before I publish on fanfiction.net, but I was just so hyped to publish that I only had 2 chapters done, and they really didn't make sense, and I got some really mean comments on it. Let's be honest here. But it was a bad fanfiction, so I deleted it, and with this story, I'm really happy with how it's going. I'm really happy to have that cushion, because, again, I'm stuck somewhere with parts that are going to take longer to write, that are just harder, because this is a very serious story. I will link my fanfiction.net account in the description below. I don't have any Hetalia stories on there. I tried, but I do have a Hogan's Heroes. I have a completed The Walking Dead 400 Days DLC story, and I have a Mabinogi fanfiction that will never be updated, but I just keep because it reminds me of 7th grade. And listen, 7th grade wasn't as terrible as I remember it. And that story is a living proof of that. And if you want a video on Wattpad, I may have to relearn the mechanics on there. I stopped writing on Wattpad in like 9th grade, early 9th grade, or Archive of Our Own, because I don't write on there, but I read fanfictions on there. I will be happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more random fandom things. Ciao, chicos.